going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. I'm Gary from Rapture Riding Co. On today's episode, I kind of just wanted to hop on and talk to you guys a little bit about a request I got from my mom. And the request was that she basically said that the kind of content that she would be interested in watching is me talking about where my passion start and how I got involved with wanting to get into stunt riding and stuff like that. So figured I'd hop on and tell you guys a little story about that. So Mom, this is dedicated to you if you're watching. So first off, one of the biggest things was when I was little, Dad used to come home from work. He used to give me these toy motorcycles, these little plastic choppers. I love that. I was always looked forward to that. And I was obviously at a very influential age, and to just get a little toy gift that was a motorcycle for whatever reason really stuck with me. Also, my Uncle Kenny, the legend, rest in peace. He was kind of the epitome of cool. He was into motorcycles, he was into cars, he had sportsers, baggers, shovelhead, choppers, pretty much everything. He had his own shop, and I always thought he was just so cool, and I wanted to be like him. And definitely a big reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. So, Uncle Kenny, if you're listening, thank you so much. Outside of that, growing up in about 3rd grade, I became friends with a couple kids in the neighborhood, and one of my best friends growing up had a dirt bike. And I remember one winter morning, his dad asked if I wanted to try it, and it was a little PW80 two-stroke, and I hopped on, and first thing I did was loop it out and destroy his rear fender. And I think I was hooked ever since then. I just loved that. I got an adrenaline rush, and it was awesome. So from that point on, I think I begged my dad for a dirt bike, probably every day. I begged both my parents. But I wasn't a big fan of school. My interest-based attention span, for whatever reason, it was really hard for me to concentrate at school, and all I could think about was dirt bikes, and I was obsessed. So eventually one day, my dad got me a brand new dirt bike, and it was probably the best day of my life. And in a challenging time of my life where, teachers were giving me shit and other people giving me shit, my dad chose to give me this dirt bike, and that just really made me feel seen and heard and appreciated. And I, for whatever reason, kind of shaped my identity right then and there, probably around dirt bikes, that motorcycles equal love almost. So that was a really important day for me, and yeah, thank you, Dad. Outside of that, Mom, I don't know if you remember, but you used to tell me that 80% of the people on this planet were ordinary, and 20% of the people were extraordinary. And you told me that I was a part of the 20% that was extraordinary, and that's always resonated with me. And seeing that, Uncle Kenny was an extraordinary dude himself, and he was a huge role model. I wanted to be extraordinary myself too. I wanted to be like him. So that just really stuck with me, those words, and I'm grateful that you would tell me that. As far as stunt riding goes, so like I said, I had some friends that had dirt bikes, and they were into racing motocross. I was definitely interested in motocross, but I never raced motocross myself. I was more interested in like FMX and stuff. Not that I was hitting any huge crazy jumps, but I was more interested in trying tricks like no-hander landers and no footers and and nothing too crazy. I mean, I was only like 12 years old, 13 years old. But yeah, so I loved doing tricks. I loved riding on the road for whatever reason back then. I loved doing the donuts and burnouts even back then. Um, and that just was always so fun for me. So as far as stunt riding, Harleys goes, you got a couple of the OGs, East Coast and Crew and Unknown Industries. Once I got a hold of them, saw them on YouTube, there was really no going back. It's probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen is when you see a Harley at 12 o'clock or somebody just on a limiter Larry, just wide open throttle, or just drifting Harleys in general. To me, it's one of the coolest things ever. What's cooler than an American V-twin just doing the craziest things like that? So I fell in love as soon as I saw that stuff, and said, yeah, I got to be a part of this. So a few years ago, like 3 years ago, I actually traded my dirt bike, which was a KX125, for my Sportster, and I've just been slowly progressing into the stunt scene and world. I like cars and everything too, and drift cars. Drifting was kind of what I was most interested in. So once I saw that you could drift Harleys, it was over, and that was just, my mind was set up that that's what I was going to learn, even more so than wheelies. As you guys can see from my other videos, I'm not really a wheelie guy, but I do love drifting. So that's kind of how I got into that stuff. And yeah, and just as far as like me having my own shop and doing my own thing, like I said, Uncle Kenny was a huge inspiration. And I heard a quote recently that said, "Those who don't lock in, clock in." So I've always been a go to the beat of my own drum type of guy, and I'm just trying to lock in and try to live up to my full potential and live this life to the fullest, and just be an example that you don't have to live up to the status quo of life. You don't have to have a normal 9-to-5 job. You can do whatever you want, and I'm just really grateful to be doing that. Grateful for the words that I've heard that shaped me to be who I am, and the people in my life who's influenced me. Super grateful for that, and super grateful for being involved with eBay and selling motorcycle parts, and that's just actually super fulfilling for me, because I've been in a position where it's hard to get parts, or you know, you're working with old bikes that parts are discontinued, so to be able to hook somebody up with the part they need makes me feel really good. And I just want to give a shout out to any customers that have purchased anything off me off eBay. Thank you. This one's going out to Raisha in Seattle, Washington. So if I'm pronouncing that right, Raisha, thank you very much. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. Thank you to everyone watching. Thank you to my 22 subscribers. And yeah, thank you for following along on my journey. And yeah, that's about it. That's my story. Thanks for listening to me for 8 minutes rambling on about that stuff, and stay tuned for some riding. that's a wrap for today, guys. Thanks again for watching. Like, comment, follow, subscribe. Let me know what kind of content you want to see more of, whether it's riding, if I should really just pull the trigger and start doing wheelies on my Harley. If you want to see more shop content like bike builds and stuff like that, if you want to see more eBay content, let me know in the comments. Thanks a lot, guys.